Well, hey everybody, Pastor Randy here, back with you, and my friend is here as well, again, to be our guest, Dr. Pam Perez. She is with Restoration Counseling. She's a marriage, a family therapist, as well as a neuropsychologist. And thank you, Pam, for being with us again.
Good to be here.
Awesome, because we're going to talk about a topic today that I know all of us can relate to, and it's the topic of social distancing. That's what they're calling it.
They're calling it that.
But we're actually experiencing it
as social isolation.
Yeah, that's your phrase.
Yeah, that's my phrase.
Yeah.
Social isolation.
Yeah. We feel socially isolated.
We do. Yeah. People are really struggling with that.
Yeah, we're struggling. And even the rate at which things have changed has been a struggle.
Yeah.
We were told we couldn't meet in groups of 50. And then that became you can't meet in groups of 10. And and when we started this, it was that this is going to wash through like the flu, but it became now you can't meet in groups of 50. Now you can't meet in groups of 10. Now you can't congregate at your church. And now we've gone totally digital with the church,
right?
And we find ourselves in social isolation, which is a challenge,
right?
Because we were created to connect. We were created by God to be in community.
That's right.
In fact, even God himself is in community with himself in the Trinity. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, the three in one, are in perfect community.
Amen.
And so because we're made in his image, we crave community. We crave connection. And all of a sudden, this has been taken from us. I mean, I have this Bible study group. Actually, Pam's husband and I belong to a group that meets with 10 or 15 guys every Wednesday morning at Denny's restaurant.
Right.
And we just have the best time. We drink coffee. We read the Bible. We talk about it. It's gone. I mean, we're looking at some ways that we can do this with Zoom or whatever, but all of a sudden, like we don't have one another to lean on like we did, and
it's a lot of loss.
It's a sense of loss.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I even saw the word grief.
Yeah.
This morning, grief, and it's not just depression; it's grief and loss.
Right.
So
yeah,
it's an interesting word.
Yeah,
it's true.
And so here we are. We're isolated in our homes. We're having to deal with some feelings. Talk to me about and share with us what are some of the typical feelings that you're finding in your practice and your colleagues as you discuss what people are coping with in terms of their feelings. What are they talking about?
Well, I was just talking to a colleague about this a couple days ago. She was saying the word frustration comes up. She was saying every session I had to talk about COVID. Every single session. She was a little frustrated.
Yeah, despite all my rage, I'm still just a rat in a cage.
Right? Oh my gosh. And so everybody needed to talk about COVID. And it wasn't fear. I wouldn't say, I'm not finding a lot of that, but there's a lot of frustration around it. People can't get in to see a doctor. So you have to, it's this telehealth thing, but their routines have been disrupted, lives have been disrupted, family gatherings have been disrupted, birthday parties are no more. Right now, Easter.
And even some jobs.
I've had quite a few of my own patients have lost jobs. And so there's a lot of uncertainty right now, so people are struggling.
And it feeds the anxiety. If you're already struggling and then you lose your job,
that's
a whole other layer of anxiety.
And we can live with a little bit of ambivalence and a little bit of uncertainty, but the problem is the rules keep changing.
Right.
And when the rules keep changing, we're not sure how to acclimate.
Especially in this context, where we are isolated. And don't you find that some personalities are maybe a little more hardwired to adapt to this isolation than others? I mean, is this an extrovert introvert thing in terms of how you cope, or how much does that factor into how we're coping?
I think it does on some level, but maybe on some level. But what I think is more of a factor is how much your life has been disrupted or how much your routine has changed.
Okay.
So for me, I'm still working 60 hours a week.
Right.
For Mr. Perez, not so much. His life has been disrupted or changed on a massive level.
Right.
So
right.
that's, I think, the biggest thing I'm finding with people is if there's been a massive change and not much that you're feeling you can do about it, that powerlessness thing, that's where the biggest stress has come in.
That's a great point. I think disruption is a big
disruption.
word. Because disruption is a word that kind of sounds like ambush.
Yeah,
like
that's a good word.
Going along in our lives. And
ambush.
And the disruption came.
Yeah.
And now, whether you're introverted or extroverted, you're having to, your rhythm has to be flexible.
That's right.
And that can be difficult.
Right. You know, the other thing we've lost too is our sense of community and our support.
Right.
And so we don't have that reality check thing around us. We don't have that balance. So even if I don't have the capability, the capacity to deal with a certain stressor, I might get together with my friend who's kind of going, oh, no, we can do that.
Yeah.
That's not that big of a deal. And so they may have a gifting in an area I don't.
Right.
And without my support or without somebody to bounce that off of, I'm really struggling in a way I wasn't before. Yeah,
and I appreciate you brought that up because I think because we're already isolated, if we're not careful, we can kind of sink inward.
Right.
And sink into this sort of, withdrawing and compartmentalizing, and and that can be very dangerous, can't it?
I agree.
So whether we're extroverts or introverts, we really got to be intentional about taking opportunities and seeing opportunities.
Buying at the opportunity.
Yeah.
Because I don't know about you, but that's something that's come to my mind a lot is, I missed the opportunity. I should have done that when I had the opportunity. You take so much for granted.
Right.
But now, for me, I'm really praying that my perspective will be switched.
Right.
In that I will be more creative.
Yes.
And have the energy to find more creative ways of connecting and reaching out and making a difference in some way, maybe that I never had before.
Yeah.
Because my life has been disrupted.
Yes.
And so, just take a little more creativity than it did before.
Yeah, I appreciate you said that because I think we've been reaching in to our own homes for the first couple of weeks because the projects were upon us and some things that we've been putting off now we had some time to do. But I think now that it's been 3 or 4 weeks, we're like, okay, now what's the new normal? And we don't know. And that can feed the fear if we stay too confined and too isolated. So we've got to be more creative and look for ways that we can seize opportunities.
Right.
And if we're going to err, let's err on the side of reaching out sooner than not reaching out soon enough, right?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like what you did too with the grocery thing.
Yeah.
That's very empowering that there's something I can do in the midst of all this.
Right.
It's a small thing, but it's a doable thing.
Yeah. And simply, we're asking people to bring groceries to donate to Valley Elementary School to help some underprivileged children whose families may have lost jobs and now they're having a hard time putting groceries in the fridge and food on the table. And so we've got a specific list of simple items that people can donate, and we'd love to connect you to that. If you want to help, you can call our church office. But I want you to know you can not only reach to help someone else, you can reach out to receive help. And we want to extend our help to you.
Amen.
If you need a friend, you can call Grace Point Fellowship.
Yeah.
If you want a pastor to pray for you or one of our other staff to pray for you, if you'd like to connect with Pam for some counseling, she'd like to make an appointment with you to meet you. So our phone number is 909-790-1971. Again, it's 909-790-1971. Or you can just click on this post when it's finished. It'll take you to our website, and all the information's on there as well. But in the meantime, we will be praying for this post and all who watch it, that God will bless you as you watch this, and that you'll find the courage to be creative, to reach out when you need help, but also to reach out and help someone else along the way.
Right. We have to be there for each other. We can.
Yeah.
We can do this. And so there are lots of opportunities out there, and there's help available. So don't let the stress get to you.
Yeah.
We don't want to become overwhelmed by it. But again, no one expects you to do this alone.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
We do want to be there and be a support for you.
Yeah, we weren't designed to deal with this alone. As people of faith, we know that God created us first and foremost to be in community with Him. And He is the Prince of Peace. And He says, I'll give you the peace that passes all understanding. So, yeah. With that, guard your heart and your mind
Amen.
as you proceed forward into this crisis. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.